Knoll Lutheran Church. Intern Ben here with the Midweek check-in. I'd like to share some family history of mine today. And I want to talk about my great-great-grandfather, who in the late 1800s came to Minnesota all the way from a small farm in Norway. And a few years ago, I was able to go to the farm he left from, the farm where my last name comes from. And as I left, I wondered what he must have felt as he saw his home for the last time, as he hugged his relatives goodbye, never to see them again. Well, he came over here and homesteaded in northern Minnesota and married and had 4 kids. And the stories of his life and of his wife Gunhilda's life and the stories of their children and grandchildren are important to our family today. These stories tell us who we are and where we come from. And I think that this is true for everybody in some way, that the stories of those who came before us have helped us to understand who we are today and where we come from. In our text this week, we read about Jesus' genealogy in the Gospel of Matthew. And Matthew takes this all the way back to Abraham, who God first made a covenant with. And we also read about many monarchs, Israelite monarchs like King David or King Solomon, or other kings like Josiah and Hezekiah. And what's an interesting move in the ancient world, Matthew also includes 4 women, which was unusual at that time in family genealogies. Now, through this genealogy that Matthew is giving, he is describing the narrative of God's people leading up to Jesus. And he's trying to establish that Jesus is from an honorable lineage and that he is descended from these kings and is the long-awaited Messiah. And this story, the story of God's people, is now turning a new chapter. We're turning to a new chapter with Jesus. And so when we think of our stories and God's story through Jesus, we should know that our stories are important, that our stories are a part of God's story. As we are the body of Christ, we are a part of God's story. And our stories of our family history, our personal history, are all wound up in God's story. And so know that we here today are the continuation of the body of Christ, and that God is in our midst as we move forward through history. Have a good week.